Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hey, what's up, Lock Shoppers? Hope you had a great weekend, despite the open carnage at Royal Troon. Lots to get to today. Big weekend in the CFL wrapping up last night. The major season is over in golf. Baseball is back. We'll get to a double play a little later on. And we need to start looking ahead to later on this week, because before you know it, we're going to be knee deep in the Olympic Games. And it is all up at Coolbet. Got a really exciting promo to let you know about as well. And, of course, Andrew Paterson with you, along with our pal Pat Gregoire, as Dusty makes it back from Cowtown after that thriller last night between the Lions and the Calgary Stampeders. Patty, what's up? How was the weekend for you?
Oh, weekend was fun. Weekend was great because I basically had no skin in the game. I could watch the Open stress-free because not a single one of my outright bets made the cut. It was absolute carnage on Thursday and on Friday. Just goes to show you, man. We talked about how weather was going to play a major role in this tournament. We really, next year, write it down, Jake. Give me a reminder to make sure that I don't place any of my outright bets until the draw comes out to see the tee times. Because, man, I don't know, they flip-flop. If you start in the morning on Thursday, you get the afternoon the next day. But, Tony Finau, the blow-up he had on Friday just completely nuked everything. He nuked parlays that I had. He nuked a pool that I was actually sitting in on Friday morning at T2, and then Tony just goes out there and absolutely blows up, and it ruined it. And so I had nothing skin in the game. Then I go to make a couple of live bets, Huss. I bet Scotty at plus 475. I get Sam Burns at 10-1, and I'm thinking, okay, one of these guys are going to show up. Burns was a non-factor, and Scotty could not make a putt to save his life, and down the stretch ended up being a non-factor as well. I bet the wrong guy. It was always X-Man. Our guy Dusty came out with another win in a major. X-Man is his man. And I think we got to start having the conversation that, Xander Schauffele, is he the best golfer in the world? He is the champion golfer of the year, but is he the player of the year when all is said and done? At majors this year, I don't know if you saw this from Justin Ray, but 8th at Augusta, a win at PGA, top 7 at the U.S. Open, and then a win at the U.S. Open. He is now just the 4th player since 1980 to top 4 in all majors in the same season, including multiple wins. Tiger back in 2000, Tiger in 2005, Jordan Spieth in 2015, and now Xander Schauffele in 2024. Remarkable what we saw from the X-Men, especially on Sunday. He wasn't unconscious all week long. He just stayed around, and he was like a shark in the water. He smelt a little blood at the top. He pounced and never relinquished that win.
Look, I'm just going through. This is his year. So the Century Tournament of Champions, he was T10. He was 3rd at the Amex. He was 9th at the Farmers. 54th at Pebble. Bounced back with 4th at the Genesis. 25th at the Palmer. 2nd behind Scotty at the Players. And we remember that epic comeback of Scotty. And then we were like, oh, Xander can't win anymore. He's always top 5 machine. He doesn't win. Followed that up with the T5 at Valspar. 8th at the Masters. 18th at the Heritage. 2nd at Wells Fargo. And then got his win at the PGA Championship. Followed with back-to-back top 10s at the Memorial, at the U.S. Open. 13th at the Travelers, 15th at the Scottish Open, and then another win. Like, Scotty Scheffler had a historic year. I mean, he did some amazing things. He was the first golfer since Tiger to win the Masters, the Players, and I believe the Memorial in the same season. But in today's world, Pat, of professional golf, these guys are measured in major championships. And with Xander doing what he did at the Open in a test of golf that made some of the best probably cry their eyes out afterwards, he was the guy that got it done. And, you look at yesterday's round. You look at this tournament, I would argue that he didn't necessarily win the tournament with that incredible 65. He won it on Saturday by shooting 69 when everybody else was getting absolutely murdered by Troon and by Mother Nature.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And that is kind of the chutzpah of a championship golfer, of a major. You don't have to be lights out from start to finish. You just can't have a blow up like what we saw from Rory. Like Rory, he was out of this tournament before it could even begin. Scotty had a little bit of that, but on Sunday he couldn't just figure it out. And you talk to players that were around for Tiger, and I'm not calling Xander or Scotty Tiger by any stretch of the imagination, but when players could feel that Tiger was within striking distance, like that's where the pressure came. And I think some of those golfers probably at the top felt that little bit of pressure with Xander breathing down their throats, because they knew either Scotty or Xander, one of those guys, if they're in striking distance on Sunday, one of them are gonna win. I said it in our group chat. All the carnage that happens on Thursday and Friday, we're seeing all these new names, some old names at the top. Billy Ho, great to see him up there. Justin Rose almost getting, a big major win for him. And then next thing you know, the two guys that we probably thought were going to be sniffing around on Sunday, and one of them ends up winning. So remarkable run those two golfers are on. And I think overall, full body of work, Scotty's probably having the better season. But I'm a guy, I agree with you. When you look at the majors, and Jake in the chat here saying, does he defend his gold medal? I don't know if they're technically supposed to take that into consideration because it's not a PGA Tour event. But for me, I would be. If Xander can go in and win a gold medal or finish on the podium and Scotty doesn't, like, how do you not give him the player of the year? I know we still have the FedEx Cup to go. We still have that. A lot of golf is still left, but a lot of the big events are done. And this Olympic golf, a little bit of a unique year here that we do have Olympic golf. And I know we're going to talk about some of our best bets a little bit later. I've only made one Olympic bet, and I made it early on Sunday morning, and it was Xander Schauffele to win gold at the Olympics. It was plus 800. I believe it's now down even further than that.
It's 6 right now. I've got it up right in front of me. While we're at it, we may as well just hit on this, because I was quite interested to see. And I think it may have actually dropped to 5 yesterday and is back up to 6. I could be wrong, but I was looking at it last night and I thought I saw Schauffele at 5-1. So I'm actually somewhat surprised that he's there at 6. I mean, Scotty Scheffler is the favorite at plus 350. Xander is at 6-1, the defending gold medalist and now the champion golfer of the year. Rory is at plus 750. Ludwig Oberg at 10-1. 11-1 for Morikawa and John Rahm. 18-1 for Fleetwood and Vic Hovland. 22-1 for Hideki. And 25-1 for Shane Lowry. Other 25s include Neiman, Tom Kim. Matty Fitz is 28. And then you get to a group of 40s. And then lower. Corey Connors, by the way, is part of those 40s. He's back there, along with Minwoo Lee, Wyndham Clark. Clark got rocked at the Open Championship. Norin Ortiz. I'll say this about Wyndham Clark. It's a joke that he's in the event. Bryson DeChambeau should be playing for Team USA. And, I'm fine with, hey, here are the rules about you can't play on the PGA Tour and all that. This is just simply this is the Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. Everyone should be eligible to play. And there's zero chance that Wyndham Clark, the USA has a much lower chance of winning their gold medal and winning the team competition or anything like that with Wyndham Clark playing ahead of Bryson. So I will just go on that. Like, that to me is outside of the Live PGA thing and does not make a lot of sense. And it's a missed opportunity for USA Golf because he will bring a lot more eyeballs to it as well. And a missed for the Olympics as well.
Where we like, I mean, just looking at the odds boards, you Schauffele at, plus 350, which is insane to me, especially what we've been seeing with Scott. Like, I thought maybe we'd get it at 450, and they're not moving off it. So you're going to see him up there. You went through the odds. Where do you think a Bryson DeChambeau would be? Like, I'm thinking he probably sits somewhere in between Oberg and Morikawa at that 11-1, maybe he's 12-1, just behind Rahm and Morikawa. But like, when you look at that, Wyndham Clark sitting down at 40-1, and let's be honest, I think that's just fact of the matter is it's a little bit of name brand recognition for Wyndham Clark being there, because like, you can't, like, you're telling me Wyndham Clark's 40-1, but I can get Alex Noren at 41, Corey Connors, even Benny On, even your guy Minwoo Lee. Like, I would much rather get those guys at 40-1 than a guy like Wyndham Clark, who really in the last year has not been himself at all. So it is a huge missed opportunity. And you bring up the great thing as well. Like, Bryson DeChambeau, there's no denying what he's doing with his YouTube channel and his socials. He's really bringing a lot of eyeballs for young folks for watching the game. Like, I think him there would grow the game even more. And I think it's a massive missed opportunity from that standpoint. But for Team USA in itself, like, you are taking a significant hit. You could own the podium. Like, you couldn't tell me, like, a Scheffler, Schauffele, Bryson, 1, 2, 3, boom. I would not be surprised if that happened. Now, yeah, sure, Morikawa still has the capability to do it, but your opportunity to own the podium goes drastically down when you drop from Bryson to Wyndham Clark.
The Olympics should be treated like a major, and everyone should be able to play if they've qualified. Bryson certainly would have qualified, and he's not there. And just, you mentioned the strength of American golf. I don't know when the last time this was done, but it has been a minute since all 4 majors were won by Americans. And obviously Xander with 2, Scotty with 1, and Bryson with the other. And to answer your question, where would DeChambeau be pegged in this group? I think he's probably at 10-1 with Ludwig Oberg. Like, I think your top 3 will remain the top 3, Scheffler, Xander, and Rory. And I think he probably is right in and around 10-1, somewhere between 9 and 11. I would put him at. And I think there'd be a lot of support for him on that. By the way, I was just looking up. So the schedule, this event begins on the 1st of August. So that is next Thursday, I want to say.
Yep. We got the 3M, and then we've got this coming up. So there is a little bit of a gap. And quickly, you asked that question, when was the last time that the Americans swept the major championships? Who, surprise, surprise, Justin Ray obviously has that fact for you. First time since 1982, in a year that all 4 were contested as well. So it has been a while. Another one that he ripped out here in favor of Xander. American players to win the Open and the PGA Championship in the same season. Walter Hagen, 1924. Tiger Woods, 2000. Tiger Woods, 2006. And now Xander Schauffele, 2024. So it really, truly historic stuff that we're seeing from the X-Man when it comes to these big events in majors.
Yeah, my make the cut parlay was a disaster. Like, I mean, pretty much everything was. I did really love that Can-Am bet, though. Xander to be top American, Corey Connors to be top Canadian, and just that miserable Sunday. And the thing about it was that Corey bounced back and shot 3 under yesterday, but so did Mac Hughes. And I'm usually supporting all the Canadian golfers, but for Mac and Corey both to go 3 under, he didn't make up any ground on them.
I know.
It was tough to take. But hey, listen, congratulations to both those guys, and hopefully Corey is playing well when they get to Paris next week. His, of course, a good friend of mine, Derek Ingram here from Winnipeg, is Corey's coach. and he was over for Troon. By the way, did I see Shane train at Troon?
Yes, he was at Troon.
Instagram. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? He was
boots on the ground. He was taking in the event with some of our Icelandics as well. Looked like an awesome time. So he is now working his way for the career Grand Slam. Was at the Masters last year, mind you. Was a practice round, so a bit of an asterisk. Now the Open. So PGA Championship, US Open next on the list. And I am pulling rank. Next time the Shane train goes to a major, I'm going, and Haas, you might have to be my +1.
Listen, I'll be on the bag. I'll do whatever the hell you need, Patty. There's no doubt about that. Hey, listen, while we're just before we kind of head over to CFL conversations from the weekend, I was just thinking about, Shaner with Coolbetters at the Open Championship. We got a new promo over at Coolbet for the dream trip to Vegas. Couple round trip flights, 3-night stay, NHL game, NFL game. What do we got going on here, Patty? Because this sounds like a trip that many of us would be quite interested in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people right now in the thick of, the dog days of summer, we thought, okay, how can we, reward our cool betters on making them stay around and not just maybe punt the account until the NFL season. I know a lot of folks in the chat, they still know MLB, CFL, and of course the casino. Can't forget about the live casino or any of the casino games. So basically what we're doing here is in order to win one of these trips, for every $50 you wager in the sports book or every $75 you wager in the casino, you'll earn one ticket towards our raffle. Each week, so it runs from now, so the July 22nd to August 4th, so 2 weeks essentially. At the start of next week, you'll be able to see a leaderboard for how many tickets you are entered. Doesn't matter though, you could have 200 tickets to this contest, or you could have 2. All you need is just 1 to get your name in that raffle. And you mentioned it, so a 2-round trip to Vegas. So you and a friend get to go to Vegas, 3-night stay, and of course 2 tickets for an NHL game, an NFL game. And of course, we know a lot of people have some busy schedules. There aren't too many weekends in Vegas this year that there is a Knights and a Raiders game, but we got them picked out for you. So if you do win, you have the choice of the following 4 weekends: Friday, October 11th against the Blues, and Sunday, October 13th against the Steelers. Saturday, October 26th against the Sharks and us. October 27th against the Chiefs. December 21st against the Kraken. And then December 22nd against the Jags. And then in the new year, it's the 4th against the Sabres and the January 5th game against the Chargers. So if you do win, you get a choice of either of those 4 games. So quickly break it down. 50 in the sports book, 1 ticket. 75 in the sports book, 1 raffle ticket as well. Accumulate as many as you can. But again, all it takes is that 1 ticket to get your name into that raffle.
$50 in the sports book, and the 75 is in the casino.
75 in the casino, 50 in the sports book.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be getting a few of those raffle tickets in there. I hope I'm still eligible to win. October 27th, Chiefs Raiders, Arrowhead West for the champs heading forward.
Absolutely.
Of course, NFL training camps are open right now, and one of the other things that we'll be doing just on a few of the slower days is starting to dive into NFL futures. But those are all up right now. If you want to start taking a look at that, I usually do extensive preseason betting, whether it comes to, Super Bowl winners, but, always my favorite conversations actually are, some of the longer shots to win divisions every single year. There's a Houston Texans that come from worst to first. Who will those teams be? So we'll get to all of that over the next few weeks as well. And then as we get closer to kickoff, I mean, all those player props will be up for the season. And that will dominate late August, early September on the lock shop, I can tell you.
By the way, Huss, I'd be remiss also when we're talking about that, and you can see it when you click on the campaigns, you see it. Make sure though, you click opt in, and then it's going to take you to those bonuses. It's Can LV 2024. It will auto populate. We're making it easy on you guys. All you got to do is click a green button, go to that next page, click it again, and boom, you are now locked in to the contest, and everything will and everything that you wager in the sports book and in the casino will make sure that you get into that contest.
Okay, so like I'm on promotions right now. First thing up, top left, win trip of a lifetime, trip for 2 to Las Vegas. I click opt in, and now I'm good. Now, I mean, going forward, all of my every time I'm betting it.
Yeah, so if you click, so once it goes clicked opt in, it should take you to where you have to put in the code, and then that should auto populate or hit submit, and you're ready to go.
There we are. So then you can just also see, it'll say bonuses, and obviously, like I'm just looking at ones that my account has used. I've got the Coolbet CFL win boost, the UFC $25 free bet, Coolbet CFL win boost, Can Arge 3 live bets. So it just goes through the ones that you've done. I opt in the soccer promo. Now it's activated, Vegas vacay getaway. And will it just I know people are wondering, like, say you bet $25 a game. Does it have to be a $50 wager, or you bet 25 on this, 25 on that, boom, $50 in, you get one raffle ticket?
That's a great question, Huss. It is for every $50 that you hit. So yeah, if you place 25 bucks tonight on whatever our MLB double play is going to be, and then another 25 tomorrow, our CFL odds come out, and you throw 25 bucks on the Bombers. There, boom, that's it one. So it's not every $50 wager. It's every time you hit $50 in the sportsbook, and similar to the casino as well.
Beautiful. All right. Well, listen, we've got to that. The Olympics do start on Wednesday. And we'll probably dive tomorrow in onto some picks. I'm just looking to see what begins right out of the gate, because I think the opening ceremonies are then as well, but they're already getting at it. Rugby sevens is happening on Wednesday, as well as football, soccer. So we've got a few matches: Argentina against Morocco, Uzbekistan versus Spain, and then a bunch of rugby sevens matchups. And I need to try to get a few experts in on WST over the next few days to fill us in on who we should be riding with. That's if you ever see these interviews on Winnipeg Sports Talk where I'm bringing some people on, so tell us about the landscape. Like, I'm pretty much always asking. I just figured it's the questions everyone wants to ask. Like, give us a little bit of inside info as to how we can make this happen. Anyways, the 25th of July, we got women's handball, archery, rugby sevens, and then and here's the big one for us, soccer fans: Canada, New Zealand in the women's. That is Thursday at 10 a.m. I'm assuming they know where we're at, and I'm assuming this is Central Time. So if you're in the East, it'll be 11. If you're in Edmonton, it'll be 9 p.m. But a lot of soccer, a lot of rugby sevens, handball early on, and then the opening ceremony actually isn't until Friday. So that's when, and then we get into it: badminton, rowing, shooting, volleyball, equestrian, fencing, judo. So artistic gymnastics. When is the breakdancing happening, Patty? Do you have any lines on who the top B-boy or B-girl will be at the Olympic Games?
You know what? I haven't done my deep dive on b-boying or any of the break. I think they're calling it breaking. But I do know. I was reading an article today about the best medal hopefuls for Canada, and there is someone in the men's category that might be sniffing around a medal. So we might have to sprinkle. I'll have to pull up the name, but This is a lot of fun. I love the Olympics. Me personally, more of a Winter Olympics guy. But anytime the Olympics roll around, I'm absolutely dialed into everything. I'll be watching. I've got the office here. I will have every event on. But what I'm really looking forward to, you mentioned it, the women's soccer. That should be a lot of fun. The team looks a lot different than what we saw the last time around. But again, anytime Canadian women's soccer team, I'm all in. As us being big footy guys. But for me, it's basketball, and it's not out yet. But I've talked to our guys. We're going to get it out. I want to get an exclusive for both Canadian basketball teams to medal, the women's and the men's. I think they legitimately have a shot to do so. Obviously, a little bit more heavier on the odds for the Canadians in the men's to win. But I mean, the women's team, you look at that roster, you look at their odds as well. I mean, it's not like they're absolute long shots when it comes down to it. So
I pulled it out right now. I mean, these are the women's, this is women's 3-on-3.
Which Canada apparently has a decent 3-on-3 team as well. So I'm looking
We're plus
forward to watching
250.
that too.
I mean, it's USA minus 118, and then France and Canada at plus 250.
Maybe us. Actually, this is a great idea. What about we'll do that one for the men's and women's 5-on-5, but over under 1.5 medals in basketball. So that could be 3-on-3, men's 5-on-5, women's 1.5 medals. I think I'm going to get that up for sure.
So here are I'm not sure if there's men's 3-on-3. Is there?
I think there is. I just don't know if Canada has a team. There definitely is, because I think like Jimmer Fredette or someone's on the US team. We might just not have the odds up.
He was playing actually in Edmonton. They had the big 3-on-3 event, and I'm like, Fredette, is that Jimmer Fredette joking? I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's him.
So yeah, there is. So they are up right now. I'm running through the odds here. Men's 3-on-3 basketball futures: Serbia and US co-favorites at plus 180. France plus 400, Latvia 600, Netherlands 9-1, Lithuania 14-1, China 24-1, and then Poland at 49.
So we're not in that one.
We're not in that one. Unfortunately, probably didn't make the qualifier. But women's, you laid it out there. One of the top perennial contenders. Like I said, when I was doing some reading today, I did not know. I was not aware of their game, but the U.S. Obviously the favorite, Canada not too far behind, tied with France at plus 250.
Okay, so that's the 3-on-3. When it comes to the men's basketball futures, and there are odds because the US is such a heavy favorite to win gold. There is winner without USA, and Canada now is the favorite. I think that's partly because they beat France in the preliminary game, or whatever you want to call it, a friendly, heading into the event. But it's basically Canada, France. Canada plus 215, France plus 225, Serbia plus 355, Germany plus 585. I'm surprised that Spain's so far down at 14-1, partly though they are in Canada's group, as are the Greeks, who are 8-1. Canada's record for the tourney, you can get, so they're top plus 220 for top two, minus 111 to get to the podium. So, I think everyone looks at the NBA talent on this Canadian team and realize that they are going to be a problem for anybody. And, depending on how things work out through the group stage, if you can stay away from the United States, got a chance to get to that final. And then, hey, when you get to the final, Dylan Brooks will be doing Dylan Brooks things, and you get a few shots to go. You never know. But again, as far as the entire landscape of the tourney goes, U.S. minus 500, Canada plus 900 to win the gold, and France, who going into that game on Friday, I think was slightly ahead of Canada. They're now down to 12-1. So that is all out there. And then the women's basketball futures look like this. Canada plus 700 top two, plus 300 top three. So I think it's clear that a medal in women's basketball would be a bonus for Canada. But our 3-on-3 women's team and definitely our men's team, our best chances for medals And I do like that over 1.5 that we might be able to jump on as well, Patty.
Yeah, I really like it. I think when you look at the roster of Team Canada, I feel like they're getting a little bit slighted here in the women's, just looking at some of the other teams. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm super well versed in women's basketball, but I do know when you look at some of those names, there are some names playing in the WNBA. There's names that have a lot of international success. So I do think when you look at, obviously, US, a massive favorite there as well, minus I think they're almost like 1,300, like 13-1. So it's pretty wild there, but I think over 1.5, just the fact that I guess Canada is a little bit of a sneaky wagon in the 3-on-3 women's game gives us a little bit of a buffer, but I can tell you that price probably would be looking at maybe like 6-1 for Canada to get a medal in either the men's or women's 5-on-5. I really like that. And Huss, I tell you, man, and I get it. It's friendlies, but South Sudan gave Team USA a little bit of a scare. So I think, some of these top teams are probably going to run away with the tournament, but don't be afraid to sprinkle, with the spread in some of these early games.
Yes.
Like some of these spreads are going to be a little bit crazy. And I think, again, I know we're seeing teams with a lot of these friendlies, these exhibition games. So they're now starting to gel a little bit together, but Team USA is still trying to figure out what's going on there. Oh, I still think Team USA probably wins gold, but fact of the matter is Joel Embiid's taking shots at LeBron James in the media saying, because they're asking him about all the talent on this roster and, is it distracting? And he's saying, well, we're not that good. A lot of the guys on this team are a lot older. Like LeBron James isn't quite the athlete he once was. It's like, what are you saying, dude? Like, what are you saying? Like, so there is going to be a lot of egos to deal with some of these US teams and some of these top teams. It might be a little difficult, and guys are going to want theirs. Covering 12.5 against South Sudan or, like Greece, Canada. Like, Greece, 6.5 point favorite against Canada. I think Canada wins that game, but I think Greece is a team that's going to give a lot of teams a lot of problems, especially if you consider the Greek freak himself's on that team. There is money to be made, not just with these futures, but just look at the spread. A lot of these spreads are going to be really big, and FIBA ball is completely different from what you see in the NBA.
Yeah, Joel Embiid needs to worry about getting his ass in shape so he can play more than 11 minutes.
Facts.
You can make the argument that guy has more unfulfilled potential than any player in the NBA, but that's another conversation. I shout out to Pat Janix. Hey, thank you, Xander. You won me money, and thanks to Huss's Bombers for only kicking field goals against the Riders. LOL. The Bombers have found reality now. That was a bit of a reality check for the Bombers on Friday night. Heck of a win by Saskatchewan. And I got to give Corey Mace so much credit, man. That defense is legit. Not that we had any questions about that, but man, they were good on Friday night. And just the culture that they've built up. That being said, for all of you Rider fans whining about Adam Bighill taking down Shea Paterson on the last play of the game, throw the ball away. Don't run around like an idiot for 6 seconds with a bunch of pissed off guys chasing you down. That might happen. So take a knee, punt it. Don't put your quarterback in a situation like that. I know there was a lot of discourse about that after the game, but to me, that was on the Riders for putting their quarterback in that position in the first place. All I know is that it is going to fire up people that much more for the rematch between these teams Labor Day weekend in Regina. Can't wait. By the way, if you're in the Winnipeg area, listening to the Lock Shop, obviously I'll mention this on WST, but any CFL bets you're making, $10 or more, or a couple of $5, send just a screen cap of your bet, email it to contest@Winnipeg Sports Talk, and we'll be qualifying a few more individuals over the next two weeks, I guess. And then second week of August, we will do a special marble race with all the qualifiers. We've actually had a couple people that have qualified twice now with multiple bets over multiple games. So we're pulling a couple a week, get in there, and it should be, I mean, not only will that game be unreal, but there's nothing more fun than the long weekend in Regina for Labor Day. Transport to and from the Peg, 2 nights hotels, tickets to the game, some Coolbet swag, some swag from the 1930 tour. So again, Winnipeggers, people in the Winnipeg area, Manitobans, as long as you can get to Winnipeg to start off the trip, get in there, and we'll be executing that on WST. We don't have CFL lines yet, but I will take a very quick look at the schedule for it, and maybe we always like kind of looking at the lines for the weekend. Riders, I would say quick turnaround. They did play the Friday game, but they're at it, and this will be a great one, man. 5-1 Riders versus 5-1 Alouettes. Doesn't sound like Cody Fajardo practiced yesterday, Patty. So, this line, having, Saskatchewan play the way they did against Winnipeg, if Cody Fajardo is out and it's a battle of the backups after the way Saskatchewan played last week, I got to think that I think Saskatchewan might be a slight favorite in this one. Like Saskatchewan maybe sort of like -1.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I exactly I think, and when these lines do drop, don't be surprised if you only see 3 games to start. I think the books are really waiting to see if Fajardo is going to be in or he's going to be out.
Yeah.
And there is some hope that he is going to play. At least that was the last reports that I did see. But if you are right, you take out both starters and you put these two teams out together against each other. I think you have to give the tie, or not the tie, but you have to give the benefit of the doubt. And I know they're on the road, but the old
defense
adage
travels.
Bingo, stole it right out of my mouth. Defense travels, and I think you give the heads up. What we've seen from Saskatchewan, what we've seen, this new culture that they're building, they can win in shootouts, they can win in defensive battles, they can win by special teams. So for me, I think it probably doesn't get more than -2.5 if both quarterbacks are neutralized, but I think you're bang on. I think it's going to be Sask -1.5.
The other games that we've got, Calgary at Ottawa, huge win for Calgary last night against BC. Man, Dusty had a lot to call in that one. That fumble at the end of the game that was picked up by BC and then fumbled again and recovered by Calgary.
Nuts.
A wild game. But Calgary's at 3-3. And you're going in to take on Ottawa, who's 4-2. I think Ottawa, probably on account of their record, is the favorite, but I don't think it gets above 3. If anything, it starts off maybe 2.5 or 3, but I kind of think this is a pick 'em plus the points for home.
I think home, and again, we talked about how defense does travel. I think you give Ottawa a little bit of the full body of work of the better team. They're at home, but Calgary certainly has the most impressive win. And a lot of the times in these odds, you do see, what have you done for me lately? Well, Calgary goes out there and neutralizes the league's top offense and did a really tidy job there. So I think this is going to be another -1.5. And you could make a case for either side. I don't think it gets any higher. That it's going to be inside a field goal either side. Maybe you give the advantage to Ottawa being the home team, or maybe the books are going to see what Calgary was able to do against a very good offense and give them the advantage. But again, another really, really tight line here.
You know what's wild? I'm just looking at all 4 of these games, and I'm not sure we've had this at any point this season. We may have to talk to Evdog and the guys in the back room about this. I don't think any of the spreads in this game are going to be more than 3 in this entire week. I think Bombers going into Toronto after the Argos lose to Hamilton, with Dukes being pulled at one point in the game, 3-3 versus 2-5. The Bombers continually get respect for what they've done in the past, at least as far as the lines go. Like, if anything, I think, and Blars haven't traditionally been very good in Toronto, even when they've been great and the Argos haven't been. They've been really, really tight games. But this is a huge game for Winnipeg. They've got back-to-back against BC after this. They need this football game. I think Toronto will be a short favorite, or it could be close to a pick'em, to be honest. And then it was supposed to be the battle of 2 0-6 teams, but Hamilton got their win. Hamilton is at Edmonton. I still think Edmonton probably ends up being a slight favorite in this game. I don't think it'll be more than 3, though. Like, I think it's probably 1.5, 2, and we'll see whether the bettors take it from there. But I expect, regardless of what happens with the Saskatchewan-Montreal game, when these lines come out, we're talking about, like, this might be the week to just do a money line parlay.
Yes.
And just pick the teams that you think are going to win, because it's going to be short numbers, I think, in all of them. And again, we're back to the 4 games in 4 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. Patty, let's bang out a double play today before we're done.
I'd love
pulling
to.
Pulling up the MLB action today, and we will look at the odds. Do we have Blue Jays action today?
No, we do
No,
not.
they are off. Mercifully, they are off today.
Thank God.
So let's see what we have here. We've got some. We'll try and get a little later on. Okay, so 5:40 our time. The rest of the games, the Rays and the Yankees are playing right now. You know, I'm tempted to go to the Mets, but the Mets screwed our double play from Friday. Jake had a great pick. Houston is a money line dog, plus 105, and the Mets find a way to choke it up against the Marlins. They've actually lost 2 of the first 3 of this series, so maybe stay away from that. Do we have Paul Skeens pitching today? No. We do have Keller, though, 10-5 with a 346 going up against the Pirates. I'm thinking maybe Pittsburgh at minus 125. Is there a game that sticks out to you for it?
So I honestly, I was looking through. There's not a whole ton. Dodgers jumped to me, but I know that is a touchy subject here on this program. So I looked at a couple of player props to dive into. And again, I know it's the double play, usually a money line, but I really like a couple of player props here, and it starts with Hunter Green over 6.5 strikeouts. Guy's been on an absolute heater as of late. 17 strikeouts in 13 innings over his past 2. 13 innings over his past 2 outings. He's nearly at like a 30% strikeout rate, which is one of the best in the MLB. He's tied for 12th in the majors with 126 Ks. And for just as good as Hunter Green has been, the Braves bats have completely gone silent in the month of July. They have the 5th highest strikeout rate in the entire MLB against righties this season. And just the struggles continue to go more and more for the Braves. So Hunter Green over 6.5 strikeouts. That's my favorite. And I also like a little bit of Canadian content here. Tyler O'Neill having a really solid season for the Red Sox, was on a really, really strong heater. But yesterday, his hitting streak, and also it wasn't just a hitting streak. Like, this guy, the last like 3 games, it was, 2 hits, 3 hits, and was cranking the ball as well. So Tyler O'Neill, I think he has a bounce back after a bit of a disappointing day at the plate yesterday, over 1.5 bases. And I might even sprinkle a home run number on O'Neill as well. Again, similar to what I said about Green, it's not just the player that I like, it's also the team that he's going up against. And the Rockies starter, Austin Gomber, has just been a mess this year, especially against righties. 12 of the 18 home runs he's given up have come against righties, and he's given up 7 home runs in his past 5 starts. It's in Colorado. We know the ball travels very far, and O'Neill has been a bit of a slugger this year. I think he could possibly hit his 19th dinger of the year. So those are my 2 favorite plays, either O'Neill over 1.5 bases or Hunter Green over 6.5 strikeouts.
What's the line on either of them? Is it basically like minus 110, or is one better than the other?
So the strikeouts is minus 132, and I think it's about even for O'Neill's bases prop. But if I had to choose one, the one that I like the best, it is the Hunter Green strikeouts for sure.
All right, well, let's go with the Hunter Green strikeouts. And then we can take Milwaukee over the Cubs. The Cubs have been ugly as of late. Myers is on the hill. He's 6-3 with a 3.13 ERA versus Assad. Let me just compare that to the odds on this game. The Brewers we're actually getting an even better number, minus 123 in this one for the Brew Crew. Was also considering the Astros is minus 147. We don't want to chalk this one up too much. And you know what's funny? The Dodgers tonight, they don't have a pitcher announced yet. Like they've got, it looks like they're going to probably go opener or something like that and then kind of take it from there. But I mean, they're still minus 130 favorites going up against Blake Snell, who I believe after his Cy Young is still waiting for his first win as a Giant. So we've got that, and then the Mets are minus 140. So let's go with the Brew Crew. Let's go with the Brew Crew minus 123.
I like that.
So we'll put that together along with Hunter Green over strikeouts, and I'm sure the boys will put a little boost on it and get that up in the exclusives and give us something to ride with tonight, Patty.
I just looked, actually. O'Neill is minus 135 for over 1.5 bases. It was close to I want to say it was 110 at one point. So either that was incorrectly priced or a lot of people have hammered that. But that just goes to show you how well O'Neill is playing. But with that being said,
do we want to do a triple play?
Oh,
a hitting prop and a money line.
Let's do it. Let's do the triple play. I love it. Let's do it. That's a lot of pressure on my head. A lot of pressure on my head, but
you know what? You made good statements. I'm ready to ride with it. So Brewers money line, the Hunter Green strikeouts, and what was his name again on Boston?
Tyler O'Neill.
There we go. It will be up in the exclusives a little later on. We'll get a better number for a triple play to start it off. We'll see if we win the triple play, we may go again. If not, we'll get back to the double play tomorrow for things. Check out the Olympic odds right now. You can spend the next couple of days really diving into those. Dusty and I will get into a few of our favorite futures over the next few days. We'll have CFL lines tomorrow and the little bit of a different travel schedule. Dusty will be with us throughout the week. And then Patty, you'll be back on. We'll have one more golf tournament to get to before the Olympic Games. But I listen, I'm looking forward to treating the Olympics like a regular tournament as well.
Hell yeah.
And the Wednesday before, we'll fire out a few picks. We'll do it all. So it should be great. Pat, thanks again for jumping on today.
Of course, no problem. And take a look at the 3M open field. It looks like it's one of my cards. Like it's all my guys. It's all my guys. It's crazy. I don't know how I'm going to pick. It's ridiculous.
We'll see you on Wednesday to dive into that. Lock Shoppers, thanks so much again. If you haven't played a Coolbet before, use the promo code LOCKSHOP when you're making your first deposit. Hook you up with a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. That's going to do it for us today. Send it back to ESTHQ. Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up at 1 over on the Winnipeg Sports Talk channel. Join us there. Lots more CFL talk coming up on our program. And we'll see you tomorrow. Dusty's back in the Lock Shop tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a good one.